Alright, so we are going to move on to games, but before we get into the new to us / new stuff, which I don't really think I hit. Oh no, never mind, I do have a couple new things that came out this year. We're going to do a quick little segment on game birthdays. So these are games that have reached, how do I want to describe this? Like a series of 5 or series of 10 birthday this past year, or in 2021. I'm going to start with the youngest and then work my way down.
Okay.
So, the little baby of the crowd is Doom 2016, which is 5 years old. I've been meaning to go back and play through this since Doom Eternal came out. Haven't yet, but I don't know. Now that I got a computer that'll actually run it, I'll probably... might even do like a little playthrough of it or start using more clips from it. Then, at 10 years old is Batman Arkham City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's hard to believe, isn't it? You're gonna feel pretty old at a couple...
I guess that would mean what is it? Portal 2 is 10 years old as well.
That came out in 2011?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Arkham City, I was really excited for it when it came out. It did perfect the free flow combat system, but I think I like the atmosphere of Arkham Asylum a bit better. And I think there's certain things they could have done a bit better with Arkham City as well. I don't know. But, I don't know, it's still a really good game. It deserves the praise it gets. F you, donkey.
I agree with you as well.
F you, donkey.
Yeah.
Okay. Then at 15 years old is Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. This is a re-release of Snake Eater that added a 3D camera. And to tell you the truth, this is way more playable than the original version. You do have the option to use the original bird's eye view to play through it, but don't do that. It makes it painful. And the funny story is the reason why the second game didn't have a 3D camera. I think Hideo Kojima wanted to be consistent with the original Metal Gear Solid, which was much more limited in terms of hardware because it was on the PlayStation 1. But also, apparently, he gets motion sick, and yeah, I don't know. I this is the version I played through, Subsistence on the HD collection on Xbox 360. So yeah, I recommend if you try to play through Snake Eater, get the Subsistence version, preferably one of the HD versions where the frame rate's not jank. Yeah, it's still a bit of an esoteric game with the damn controls and everything, but that's still pretty good. I think it's my favorite of the Metal Gear Solid games.
Okay.
Let's see. Moving forward again. Oh my, we got a lot at this one. So I guess since I mentioned Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 2 is turning 20 years old, or turned 20 years old.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. I'll admit this is probably my least favorite of the Metal Gear Solid sequels. I kind of need to play through it again. I thought I'd enjoy it a lot more because I went right into it after playing through the original game. But, I don't know. It's still a very important game. It introduces the first-person view and shooting and stuff. Has a really interesting plot, let's say. But, yeah. This next one, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, Rob, but Halo Combat Evolved. It's also turning 20.
Halo's 20 years old.
Yep. A lot of good games came out in 2001, and I'm going to mention a couple more of them, Silent Hill 2, regarded as one of the best horror games ever made. Again, this is another game I kind of want to play through again that I haven't touched in a while. And it's another one of those games where, what you've heard about it, all the praise you've heard about it, is probably true. But still, check it out if you can. And then Max Payne.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Max Payne is 20 years old. Now, the thing that I want to mention about Max Payne, and this is the crime of the frickin' century, is that this son of a bitch has not gotten an HD re-release. Because this is one of the, my favorite third-person shooters.
I'd seen you play it before. I didn't know it was that old though. Damn.
Oh yeah, the original. Yeah, it looks it. I'll tell you that. But yeah, it is a fun game. It's got the bullet time mechanic, probably making it the best Matrix game that has ever come out and will ever come out. It's also what got me into The Punisher, to be honest, because it's a guy who pretty much kills the entire mob of New York, or a good portion of it, in one night. Over the course of a couple nights. I forget the timeline of it, but it is a fun game. It's got a lot of noir, psychological horror elements. It's a pretty miserable, it's got a pretty miserable story, but it is still an awesome game. And yeah, if you have not played it, you need to play this. Yeah. And then rounding out the list of 20-year-old games is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. This is the one Metroidvania Castlevania that I've had the least amount of time with. It got re-released in the Advanced Collection, which is available for pretty much everything, so I recommend hunting that down, or downloading it, as opposed to getting a physical copy on the Game Boy. Yeah, like the little bit I played of it, it's pretty fun. It's the first of the Game Boy Metroidvanias, or the first of the handheld Metroidvanias, and it kind of shows it, but I don't know. I think they did a decent job.
Yeah. Two more games to add to the 20-year-old category.
Oh my!
Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Really?
Yeah.
How the hell did I forget that?
Mm-hmm.
My gosh. Okay, yeah, I feel bad now. Damn it, Robbie.
And then Half-Life Blue Shift turned 20 years old, which is the weakest of the Half-Life expansions. So.
Okay. Huh.
It was the last one that was released, and which is funny because it's like the one that has the least amount of stuff in it. But it's because it was supposed to be like a bonus included on the Dreamcast version of Half-Life, which never got released, I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now moving on to the 25-year-old games, and to start off the list is Final Doom, which I have not played yet. Well, actually, I've played a decent amount of Evolution, but not Plutonia.
Heck yeah. Plutonia it's a lot of fun, but it will make you hate Doom.
Yeah, I mean that's what Greg was saying during Quakemas.
I still haven't beaten it. But over the summer, I finally played the level Hunted, which is you're stuck in a maze full of archviles. And, oh man. And it plays the stupid, cute Dead Bunny song the whole time.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. It's a blast. But it puts you to the test. Like, you have to be good. Like, it's on par with, like, Doom Eternal and, like, the Ancient Gods and stuff.
Okay, well, I can't wait for that. Maybe I'll do a blind playthrough of Hunted. It'll be like Decino, except way shittier.
Oh, yeah.
Or I should say shittier, because he's a pro. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a freaking baby that's inebriated with on roller skates and with a Mac 10. I can't hit shit. Okay, let's move forward, and that's the game that we cannot shut up about. Quake. Turned 25.
Got a sweet remaster this year.
Oh yeah, very sweet remaster. And also, I guess I'll mention this now so I don't have to talk about it later, but I think they finally made the Quake soundtrack available on vinyl for the first time this past year, or 2021. And I did pick it up, have not listened to it yet. Yeah, like it's available on Nine Inch Nails' website, which I find kind of funny.
That is funny, actually.
You see it right next to all like the Nine Inch Nails albums and then the Soul soundtrack. It's kind of funny. I'm still waiting for the Slam Bamboo EP, Trent Reznor. I need that shit. I need it in my life. Oh my.
Can you get Quake 2 on vinyl? Nope.
I don't believe so.
No, you can't.
You can't even get the expansion packs for Quake on vinyl, which kind of sucks. It's just Trent Reznor's work.
Yeah.
Because he was the one kind of like pushing for it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, continuing on, we got Resident Evil 25 as well.
Dang.
Yep. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it has certainly come a long way from where it is now, or where it was then, but I still think the original Resident Evil is a fun game to play. Or maybe, well, the director's cut. Because I forget if the original game had auto-aim or not.
I don't know if it did. I forget.
Yeah, and definitely, when you play the old tank control ones, you gotta play it with auto-aim. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That's the way the Japanese intended it. But yeah, I still think it holds up. A lot of people are like, "Oh, the voice acting is cheesy, and the remake makes it look like shit." But no, like I don't know. It still has its
The thing I really like about the original over the remake is that the remake is still like it's amazing. Like it's great, but the thing is with the remake is the remake has like a very like dark edge filter over it. Like it's a lot of grays and blues and stuff like that. Not a very colorful game. And the original game is pretty colorful if I remember correctly, like the environments you go to. And
yeah.
I almost think that that's creepier. Like I always feel like in like movies and stuff when they make stuff look dark and gloomy that it's kind of like cheating, you know?
Yeah.
And I really like the visuals in the original game. I wish you could get the original on PC, but you can't.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are videos of people that play it. There's some emulator you can play it with on the PC that makes it in HD, but I don't know, it kind of looks really bad in HD just because anything that's like a 3D model sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
They still sort of stuck out in the original game, but with like
they kind of had to a bit.
Yeah, they had to a bit. Like you can't hide that perfectly, but it's hidden a lot better if you play it on the PS1 on a TV than it is through the HD emulator. But either way, I feel like it deserves a modern release.
Yeah, same with like the original trilogy in general, like the PlayStation games. Not frickin' Survivor though, unless they add light gun support with the Nintendo Switch, or the Joy-Con thing.
Mm-hmm.
But just as an add-on. Yeah. And then also, speaking of zombie games, guess what other similar themed game is turned 25?
It's House of the Dead, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
House of the Dead, probably one of the best arcade rail shooters. Well, actually, no, I think the second one's a bit better. But yeah, I didn't really know this until I started getting back into Resident Evil and House of the Dead. But apparently, those games really helped revive interest in zombies. And apparently, House of the Dead. Yeah, apparently House of the Dead introduced the concept of a running zombie, which I find really weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a crazy idea. I mean,
yeah.
Usually, I guess the usual ideas of a zombie is that it's slow, but yeah, they really send them in communist wave tactics in that first level, depending on which branch you go through. They send a shit ton of them. They're all galloping at you. Stop.
According to Nintendo.com, the Switch remake still has to be determined with the release date. So
that's a shame.
It's too bad they couldn't have released it this year.
Yeah, I mean they were supposed to.
Yeah.
Or I don't remember what they said, if they had a date in mind or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, was it Halo Infinite came out on Halo's birthday, which was really cool. And they kept it a pretty well hidden secret as well, because they were saying it was going to come out later, and then they put it on Steam, and then it literally broke Steam because so many people were downloading it.
Yeah, that's a game I kind of want to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move further on my list, and it's thinning out a bit because I don't know, there are not a lot of as many older games, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But Super Castlevania 4 is turning 30.
Oh, cool.
Or turned 30. It's pretty much one of the original like remakes, HD remakes, if you want to say that, since it went from 8-bit to 16-bit. Even though I think that that one Sharp X860 or 8600 or whatever version came out before then, but I don't know. It is still a fun game. It holds up. You can get it in the Anniversary Collection. And then turning 35 is Akumajo Dracula, which is the original version of Castlevania.
Oh, cool.
For some reason, they didn't release it on NES until 1986. But I'm going to mention this one, and I'll probably mention regular Castlevania again this year in 2022. And do the podcast on that. But yep, it is a classic. I don't think it gets the recognition it actually deserves because it's like a really good action platformer.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is awesome. It holds up.
It's one of those games that I feel like it's kind of overshadowed by like all the other big Nintendo properties, like, well, the ones that Nintendo still owns, you know, like Mario and stuff like that. But if you talk to anyone who was like into gaming in the 80s, they all have nothing but good stuff to say to Castlevania. Like, that was a really popular game back in the day.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people complain about like this, like how the controls work and how the jumping works, but that's just like part of the game. It's just like with Doom Eternal. Like,
yeah,
you gotta know how like movement works. You gotta work around that, and yeah,
I think it's Ego Raptor. I could be wrong, but he has a video about why Castlevania 2 is a bad sequel, and he goes like very in depth on why the first Castlevania game is like a masterpiece that still holds up today.
It's probably one of his sequelitis videos.
It's one of his sequelitis videos. One. I haven't seen it since high school, but I remember being like, it was a very good game analyzation.
Yeah, I still like Castlevania 2 as a game, but like yeah, I can understand that. It was way too ahead of its time. I can see that. And they also like they got screwy with the localization too. But yeah. Oh yeah, another weird thing about the Japanese version, it came out on the Famicom disk system, so you get it on like those weird little like floppy disk things, and you can actually like save your game progress on those.
Oh, no way.
With those, but you couldn't with the NES cartridge unless you know it was like one of the special battery cartridges like you got with Legend of Zelda. Which that's also turning 35, but it's not as important to me, so I'm not gonna talk about it in depth. Still a good game, but yeah. And then finally, turning 40 is Galaga, which I hope needs no introduction. It's one of my favorite arcade games.
Yeah,
very
simple. One of the most iconic arcade games ever. Lots of good remakes as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Much better than Galaxian. You ever play Galaxian?
I have.
Yeah, it's much slower.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. And that pretty much rounds out our list. And my goodness, that ran longer than I thought it would.
Lots of good games that were mentioned, though.
Oh yeah, I think the next couple years are gonna be long lists because actually all the 90s there were some awesome games that got released.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at my Steam library. I have no games from 2002, which is weird. I'm sure I do. It's just sometimes the dates aren't always right here on Steam.
I don't know I wouldn't know about Steam, but I probably have like some physical games like from on the PlayStation 2 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
2002.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh yeah, but because we need to talk about games that are new to us or came out in 2021. I want to just start with the Quake port. Let's start with the Quake port.
Yeah, the Quake port.
This was a nice surprise.
Yeah, this was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, we pretty much said what we've needed to about this. I know we were saying the multiplayer was kind of jank, but that might just have been my internet connection being very crappy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Scourge of Armageddon still has some weird quirks with it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's just that one. We haven't tried Dissolution
I think
yet.
I think it has gotten better. Like when we did Quake Miss, we had one crash where you guys fell out of the server. I think.
Yeah.
And
something like that.
Over the summer when we were trying to play together, it was like every half hour one of us was getting kicked out of a server or something like that. You know, it was insane. But it's way easier to do than online multiplayer was before, you know, like don't get me wrong, I really like the Bethesda ports for Doom. I think that they're probably like the quote unquote best way to play it right now. Like if I'm playing
it's definitely
Plutonia,
the best vanilla way to play it, I would say.
It's the
like
best,
the least headaches.
Yeah, it's the best vanilla way to play. That's the best way to put it. Like I'll still play on GZ Doom, but if I'm playing classic Doom and I just want to do it like as vanilla as I can, I just play on the Bethesda ports. And like they have a lot of really good options, like you can do split screen and stuff like that, just easy stuff like that. But I definitely think the Quake port is above the Doom port. Like the Quake port does so much. I mean, first of all, it adds like new models and stuff. Like it is a full HD version of the game, and it's super easy to load. You can load all of the expansions and stuff. It's just
they're already in there.
Yeah, and like we were already playing on Quake Spasm and After Quake, and even I think we played on DOS for a little bit together. But we didn't really have any issues playing on the older ports and stuff of Quake.
DOS.
Yeah. But this new port, like one, it was needed. Like it's really hard to get people to play old games. But
yeah.
it's
Greg.
just, yeah, it's
for Quake
good.
at least.
Like what a nice relief, really. Like
yeah, and the one thing I really want to get out there is that it solves the soundtrack problem.
It is the definitive way to play Quake.
Yes. I've not tried Deathmatch on it yet, but I probably should. Just for
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
How's the matchmaking? Well, there probably isn't any matchmaking. What the hell am I talking about?
Yeah.
All right. But I don't know. There was almost a good transition in there to the next thing I was going to talk about, and that is I played through Doom 2 for the first time on UV by myself in the longest time, as well as some other expansions. No Rest for the Living, Sigil, and some of the master levels. I'm still going through those right now. I'm about halfway through them. But yeah. So I mentioned this during Quake Miss, and I just, I came to the realization, like, I didn't know how much I missed Doom. Like, as much as I love Quake, there's just so much about Doom that I've been missing out on, and like that I missed that I had already experienced and forgotten about. It's like, it's like
you've been playing a lot of Quake and a lot of Doom Eternal. It's like it's nice to go back. Like I tried doing a pro Doom run where I was going to see if I could get it through all of the original Doom, the first 3 episodes, without dying. And I got through episode 1 on Ultraviolent. 1 death. Super proud of myself. Lots of fun. Like, I had the same experience. I was like, holy cow, I forgot about how good this first episode is,
Yeah. Yeah, for Doom 2, there are quite a few rough parts.
Yes.
A lot of people shit on the Abyss, which I think is kind of deserved, because you can miss, like, an entire third of that level without trying.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't kill everybody, and then, like, I'd forgotten about, it's like a gold key door or something, like, and it's like, oh, there's this entire other section of the level that I didn't even go into, and oh, it's full of monsters. Mostly Lost Souls, but yeah. Sandy, what's wrong with you? You know, the one thing that I'm learning about Sandy Peterson is that a lot of the levels he designed were more. He's more of a game designer's game designer, if you know what I'm saying. He does stuff that he thinks are like really cool from like a game design standpoint, not necessarily things that are fun to play.
Yeah.
Or he did. I don't know how his board games are. I haven't tried any of them, but it's like, especially like, I think he said that Fortress of Mystery is his favorite Doom map that he ever made.
I think so. I think that's what he says.
I don't know where that quote comes from, so I don't know if it's actually real or not, but if that's true, my goodness. Putting all the damn keys right next to each other. Oh, I'm opening the blue key door and I get a red key. Oh, what do I get when I open the red key door? Oh, a gold key.
See, it's funny. I always look at that and I just go, well, somebody was bored on Doom Builder, you know?
It wasn't even Doom Builder. I forget how they had to do it back then.
I know that. I think they've released the program they used back then, because they had some program made up for making maps.
Yeah.
But I think it's not as good as Doom Builder, so it's like, not worth using.
No, I doubt it. And did it run in Windows at least, or did you have to do DOS?
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my first question. So yeah, just go with Doom Builder. But going on to like some of the expansions, No Rest for the Living was really fun to play through. I played through it on UV. That's another one, like, well, this isn't really a complaint as much, like Abyss, like the Abyss, a lot of the levels you can kind of miss out on if you just go straight for the exit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually explore, and you'll find some really neat stuff, you'll get some weapons early, and yeah, it's just a blast. And like a lot of the maps are really like slaughtery. There's like a high enemy count because this was made for the Xbox Live Arcade port of Doom 2, and they wanted to take advantage of the fact that they could use more monsters, make the levels bigger, and that is what they did. My only complaint is the final level, which should have just been called Damned Imps, because there are a shit ton of damned imps in that damned level and one cyber demon. And as soon as you kill that cyber demon, and you've probably killed 80% of the imps at this point, there's like not much left in the game. You find a couple more imps probably. Yeah. Secret level was really fun too. Like, it's only 9 levels, including the secret, so you could probably knock it out rather quickly. Maybe not on your first playthrough, but yeah, it is fun. It is fun looking for every secret, kind of strategizing how to get through each like chunk of the map.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
we also played a little bit of Doom 64 for Doom 2, which that was pretty fun too.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I forget if I should still have that on my computer. But that probably wouldn't run in Bethesda Doom, would it?
No,
because it's got Decorator, like Z-Doom stuff in it.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate. But going on to Sigil, I played through that on Hurt Me Plenty, I think, and I didn't have too much of a problem with it. I'm kind of halfway through it on UV at the moment. I stopped and kind of put all my attention on No Rest for the Living, so I forget how far I got. I think like map 5 or 6. But even then, like, it was still pretty, like, it wasn't too crazy. And like, a lot of the deaths I had were like ones that I figured out how to avoid. Like the one in map 2 where that cyber demon spawns in, you just got to telefrag him.
Yeah.
It's easy. You don't.
The biggest issue I had on Sigil is that level with all the crushers, where you have to like make it through that maze full of crushers.
That is kind of annoying. I think I did get past that level.
Yeah. I beat that level, and I don't think I've touched it since.
Yeah.
And that was a few years ago, but I mean, a lot of other stuff has come out since then, so that's why I should go back, because I played through it on co-op all the way through. But I mean, playing on co-op is a little different than playing.
Yeah. And I think,
especially when you're playing co-op online with people who you didn't know.
yeah, and I
which
think
is how I played it.
I think the thing that really screws with people too is having to workhorse the shotgun, not having the super shotgun.
Yeah.
Because this was my thing before I did my second Doom 2 playthrough. Like I always try to like workhorse the shotgun. It's because I've had the most time with like Ultimate Doom. I still find it annoying having to do that to like Caco Demons, but I don't know.
Yeah, Caco Demons and Barons. And usually in Sigil, the enemies are placed in a way that like you can get them to infight pretty easily. So like you don't always have to just pump Caco Demons and Barons full of shotgun shells, because you can usually get them to infight pretty easily, but not all the time.
Yeah, I guess that's something I should mention about my like playthrough. It's like learning the dynamic of like when to use the shotgun versus the super shotgun, when to whip out the chain gun. It's like I can't believe that you didn't know that the first 2 shots of the chain gun are like 100% accurate.
I'm sure I knew it at some point, but
yeah.
Like I said, it's been a while since I played Classic Doom.
Yeah, it makes you're
not really. I played it like 2 weeks ago,
yeah.
But
yeah, like that's your like main sniping weapon. Like the shotgun, you can kind of use to snipe, but like only for like maybe groups of humanoids. I wouldn't use it on anything larger for that. And if they're like kind of spread out a bit, so you hit as many of them as possible. But I don't know. Yeah, the chain gun. Yeah, you want to use that to snipe. Like the plasma gun might have better damage, but it's not a hit scan.
Yeah.
It's really bad for Caco Demons. But yeah, the chain gun's like perfect for them, and friggin' Payne elementals at a distance. Bastard Payne elementals. And revenants. And chain gunners. And yeah, that's about it. Yep. Yeah, the master level's been okay so far. I guess like Greg kind of pointed this out, but I guess a misconception I had was that these levels were supposed to be like particularly difficult, and they're like not all of them are. I guess the idea was that they were levels made by master mappers or whatever at the time that were, officially commissioned by id.
Yeah.
So I'm about like I'm on the 11th. No, I'm on the 12th one so far. So, and in Bethesda Doom, they are ordered alphabetically by WAD. And like I think only 2 of them have been like challenging so far. I'm still on UV. And those were Titan Manor and Escape from Titan.
I don't know, it's been forever since I've played the master levels.
Yeah, I mean, I just played these in the past week, so I'm just trying to... Yeah, I think those are what they were called. And Titan Manor is, like, weird as far as, like, how to progress through it. Like, my goodness. It's very puzzly with its progression. I mean, I've been figuring out a lot of these, like, without having to look them up. I think there were a couple times I had to, like, look up, where do I go next? Because it was, like, just that much... Like, I just wanted to get out of the level, because you can only hear running through evil so many times in a row.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think some of them are okay. I know they get a lot of crap for being, like, too 1994-ish, but... They are what they are. They're worth checking out. They come free with Bethesda Doom 2, so might as well just try them out.
Yeah.
I would suggest going into them, like, before No Rest for the Living or anything else, because I think most of them are fairly easier than those other expansions.
Yeah.
Alright.
I agree with that. Alright. So, I talked a little bit about this during our Halloween special, but one of the games I found this year, which just kind of blew me away, was Dusk. And it's like, I think it was it wasn't the first boomer shooter throwback game, but it was the first from New Blood. and New Blood they know what they're doing. It is super good. Like, again, I always thought it was just like another Quake clone, just a game that's just like Quake, you know, but it's a few steps above. So I haven't beaten it yet. I'm really far into it, but I bought the game Ultra Kill a few weeks ago, which was also made by New Blood. It came out last year, and holy crap, I don't even know if I can explain this game. Like, it is a shooter. I know a lot of people compare it to Doom Eternal. I don't think it feels like Doom Eternal. I think it just feels like its own thing, but it is you have to bounce and dash and move as fast as you can, just because there's huge hordes of these monsters coming in, and you just gotta kill them, and you're doing little slides. There's a gun where the alt fire is that you throw a coin, and then you shoot the coin, and it'll like ricochet and like get a critical hit. You need to play that game. Anyone who's listening to this needs to either play Dusk or Ultra Kill, or hopefully both. They're like $20 on Steam, so...
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Ultra Kill. I have Dusk, I still haven't played it, but yeah, that's one that one's on my list for this year.
Yeah,
after I get through all the
premise,
Doom stuff I'm going through.
I mean, obviously the story isn't a big part of it, but the premise is that there was some type of mutation or zombie plague or something that like infected Earth, and they built you, which is a robot, to fight the infection. But like, it's been a few years, and like at this point all of humanity is dead, and you're just this robot programmed to kill everything, just running around killing everything. Like the tagline, I think, is like, Earth is dead, blood is fuel, hell is full, or something like that. It's super cool.
And super self-aware, it sounds like.
Yeah, like when you start the game, they have the graphics options, and you have like PC, which is just like regular rendering, and then they have PlayStation 10, where it makes it all like pixelated and stuff. Like
PlayStation 10?
Yeah. It's just like a stupid little joke about how PC is better than console, and it's just like, yeah, the PlayStation 10 still can't run this game at HD. It's like, the PlayStation 10 doesn't exist, but okay.
I mean, the PlayStation 5 practically doesn't exist for most people if you can find one.
Yeah.
I don't know how the shortages are going still, but try to get one with a disc drive. I'm pretty sure it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. But super fun games.
Yeah.
I guess if I'm going to talk about games that came out this year, though, I mean, I didn't play a lot. Herat was a game that I wanted. I don't think it's made by New Blood, but it's like still associated. It's another throwback shooter.
Yeah, in the style of like, well, it's like the old style 3D, low polygon.
Yeah. Low polygon.
With a hint of Slav. Well, I shouldn't say
Slavic,
hint. It's like a friggin', it's the entire Slav.
Yeah. It's more what I thought Dusk was going to be. And that's not to say that it's bad, but, you know, if you've played Quake or Doom, it's basically just that, you know? Like, there hasn't been any moments in it that, like, really blew my mind, with the exception of a bulldozer jump scare, which I never thought I would experience.
Are beats and vodka health?
No,
Aww.
because it takes place during the 80s, so there's like no food or ammo anywhere because of Stalin.
That makes me sad. Oh,
yeah, you get cans of blood and fat, and like bags of expired milk.
Yeah, the 80s, wasn't Stalin dead?
Oh yeah, Stalin. I think. Yeah, I don't remember.
Unless
I think
it's
Stalin
like an
was dead in
alternate
the 80s.
history thing where he like turns into like Mecha Stalin. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
He was the final boss.
Yeah. The bosses are weird. Like, the last one I fought was a gymnastics horse with a rocket launcher. And I can't tell if it's supposed to be creepy or a joke.
There's something off there.
Yeah. It's a weird game. I don't know what I think about it, except for I know it's not as good as Dusk or Ultra Kill. And then Halo Infinite came out. I did buy the campaign. I've been playing through it. I think I'm almost done with it. It's kind of a mixed bag, I think. Just talking about the story mode, the multiplayer is pretty good. At least I think it is now. Who knows? But the
what is the overall like reception of it, like from like not like journalists or whatever, but like from people, you know?
A bunch of people are really pissed off at Halo Infinite because basically to unlock armor you do have to pay money. It's pretty close to Team Fortress 2, where it comes down to like you either pay $20 and have a bunch of cool like skins and armors for your character, or you're just like plain. And a lot of people really hate it for that. But the multiplayer is free, so it's like,
oh yeah,
you can't really be upset about having to pay for, cosmetics when the game is free. I mean, you compare that to Halo 5, where you could pay money to get like power-ups during multiplayer maps. Like it was pay to win. This isn't pay to win, so it's like I don't get why everyone's super upset.
And I don't mean to distract too much, but like as far as gameplay goes, would you describe it as like any of the past like Halos?
It's definitely closer to the older Halos, which I like.
So like 3 or
yeah,
okay.
It's closer to like 1, 2, and 3, and like it has been updated a little bit, but there's weapons scattered around the map. There's no like loadouts. There's not any like, I mean, there are power-ups, but they're not ridiculous. Like I'm very impressed with like how much they tried to make it like balanced and back closer to the older multiplayer. And they've added things that I like too, like before like a rocket launcher or something spawns, it'll like announce it, so then everybody like charges towards that area, which is pretty fun. So the multiplayer is fun. I haven't played it a lot, so I don't know how much I can talk about it. It was pretty glitchy when it first came out, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
I've been mostly playing through the story mode right now, and I use story in like quotation marks because the story is about on par with Doom Eternal's story, maybe. Like, it's weird. So the story mode or the campaign, it's open world. It's just one big long mission, which is pretty cool, I think. Tons of enemies, tons of fun enemies to fight. Like, in the older Halo games, the grunts would use like a plasma pistol, needler, and maybe a plasma rifle sometimes. In this game, they're using freaking every gun, like all the Covenant are. Like, there's so many different varieties of enemies to fight, which I think is a lot of fun. And then like you can get cool suit upgrades and stuff. But the actual story of what's going on, terrible. And I was pretty upset about that at first, and now I kind of just think it was on purpose, that they just said, screw it, let's just, not focus on having this, like, have a story at all, a plot. Because so far it's just like Master Chief gets down on the Halo and he's like, alright, let's just kill everyone. Like, and that's what it is. Like, you're just going around killing people. Like, I don't know if maybe more story comes in later, but like, this game doesn't really have cutscenes. The only cutscenes that are in it is Master Chief talking to the new Cortana, and these cutscenes are really cringe. I'm gonna say that right now. Like, they're trying really hard to sell you on this new Cortana, which is stupid because it's the exact same thing. It's just like, I think it's the same actor. It's just a little blue girl that says stuff and turns on doors and elevators.
Isn't she covered up more?
Yeah, she is covered up. She's not a naked chick anymore, which a lot of people are upset about, but whatever. Incels. Anyways.
Oh, don't be one of those tools, Revy.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't make fun of those people, but I'm sorry that Halo Infinite didn't give you a big enough boner. Yeah. But like, Master Chief is just super uncharismatic in this game. Like, he doesn't have, like, any of the cool lines from the old stuff. And, like, just to show you how big of a mess this game is, like, the opening cutscene, Master Chief gets his butt kicked by this giant brute. He's like, oh, I'm the big bad guy of this game. And then, like, the next level during a cutscene, it turns out that brute who you were fighting was killed off screen. And then... Just wait.
Okay.
And then it turns out that Cortana, who was apparently the main villain of the last Halo game, she was also just killed off screen. And it's just like, what is going on? You know, it's just, well, there's no plot. It's just Master Chief wants to kill people. Like,
okay.
Freaking, like, Oracle shows up and he's, like, alive for about 5 minutes, and Chief is like, no, I'm gonna freaking kill you, and then he gets, like, in a big robot suit and you shoot his arms off. It's just killing people. Like, it feels like I'm playing, like, one of the old mods people used to do for Halo 1, where it's just, like, you're running around on a map and you're just killing a ton of different, like, bunch of different forms of Covenant, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it works, but I'm curious how divisive this one is going to be, because, like, if we're looking solely... If you're someone who cares about, like, the lore and the story of the Halo universe, I feel like this game is going to piss you off, and I'm curious if people are going to think this story mode is worse than Halo 5's. I mean, I haven't played Halo 5, so I can't say, but I was told it was terrible not to play it, and I'm curious how this is going to compare to it.
Yeah. So, kind of speaking of Halo, I guess I'll transition into mine. So the Master Chief Collection for me. Yeah, because you actually bought this for me, because like every Halo game I've got, most of the Halo games I own, like, were bought for me by someone else, either you or Greg.
Yeah.
And I mostly played Halo 3 on it, multiplayer, and it is really fun. It is kind of neat to finally see Halo 3 on the PC.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And what's cool is how much they've done. Like, they've added new maps and, like, new weapons to the game. Like, this game that's, you know, over 10 years old, getting an expansion is just, you know, crazy. I mean, like,
yeah,
Doom gets expansions all the time, but, like, Doom's based around modding. Halo 3 really isn't. So it's cool to see that happen. And, like, that's part of the reason I was talking about I haven't played Halo Infinite's multiplayer a lot, because, like, it's good, but I don't know. I've played Halo 3's more, so, like, if I'm going to play with my friends, usually we just play on Halo 3.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Halo. Just to be honest, like, I don't like the 2-weapon limit, and I certainly don't like the slow movement speed, even though I think that's kind of to make vehicles more... what's the word? It's kind of to encourage the use of vehicles. But, I don't know, like, playing multiplayer with friends, even though I'm not the best at it, it is a blast. Like, I know we got a group together earlier this year, and it was fun. Or last year, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing going back to Halo Infinite, the coolest thing in the game is that you can get a grapple hook. And, like,
really?
Yeah, and one, you actually use it a lot in combat, because, like, you were talking about how, like, you're really slow, and yeah, you're really slow in Halo Infinite, and what's weird is that there's a sprint option, but, like, sprinting is only, like, a little faster than walking, which is mind-blowing to me.
What do they map it to?
I think it's mapped to X. It's either X or... No, I think it's either X or clicking the stick, I don't know.
It better be clicking the stick, because
I have it on PC, so it can do whatever I want it to.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, because that's a weird thing about Reach with its
like
default controls.
The boss fights and stuff, like, you have to use the grapple hook to dodge their attacks, and when you're just traveling around the open world, it's almost like you can become Spider-Man. Like, you literally, like, use the grapple hook on the top of a tree, swing yourself out, and then grapple onto another tree and just keep swinging around. So, that's a lot of fun.
That was really weird. I did not know they added a grapple hook to that.
Well, I mean, like, all the modern games are getting grapple hooks. They're putting them in Doom, Call of Duty, everything.
Well, Doom was a meat hook, and you couldn't grapple onto the environment, unfortunately.
No.
That'd break the game.
Not until the Ancient Gods Part 2.
Well,
I guess we should talk about that now.
Oh, yeah. I was saving that for biggest disappointments.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could talk about it then.
So forget that it was mentioned and go to hell. Moving on with games. Holy crap. Okay. I'm going to talk about a board game. I think you recommended this in the 2020 Halloween recommendations. Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yes.
Yep. I finally got to play it.
What'd you think?
So, this is my understanding of the game, and it's that depending on the haunt you get, that's gonna like determine your enjoyment of it. A lot of the the haunts are hit or miss, and we ended up with one that was very, very weighted on the side of the whatchamacallit, the traitor.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was the mummy one, and we got our asses handed to us pretty much. So it was me. Steven was the one that triggered the haunt. He was the traitor.
I believe it.
Yeah. Greg got lost. Well, no, he didn't get lost in the basement. He wanted to try to kill himself in the basement, I think, by just traveling around. So, I don't know.
He always goes to the basement. I don't know why. I always try to stay out of the basement.
Yeah.
Too many monsters down there.
Yeah, I did get it for Christmas, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it again since then. So, yeah, I'm still trying to keep an open mind about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. And then another board game I got to play for the first time. This is one that I remember seeing back when it was new, but I finally found out the name of it because I saw it on eBay, and I started looking into it a bit more. But Star Wars Epic Duels. This came out around the time of Attack of the Clones, so it's limited to characters from that, but it's pretty much like a skirmish game or like a deathmatch type game, where you control a main character and then one or two minor characters, and you have to defeat your opponent's main character. Or depending on the rules, they got it's like a mixed set of them. But it's based on a deck of cards, which controls all your attacks and like ability to block. And then dice for movement, which I think that's probably like the one like pain point of it that kind of ruins it. But I also played that the same night I played Betrayal, and it was pretty fun. Got my ass kicked. It was me and Greg. We teamed up against who do we play as? I played as Darth Maul with two battle droids, and he was Boba Fett and Greedo. And then we played against Mace Windu with 2 clone troopers, and then Yoda with 2 clone troopers. And the funny thing is, I actually went through and tried to check to see if I had all the cards for everybody. And it turns out Mace Windu and Yoda both had missing cards from their deck, yet we still got kicked, like our butts kicked. So I gotta go replace those on eBay, or get those on eBay. It's a fun game, and apparently there's a big fan community to it too. They have a bunch of custom decks for characters that didn't make the cut, very obviously. Like Jedi from Return of the Sith, or that showed up in Return of the Sith, like Aayla Secura. You can even get a deck for like Grand Moff Tarkin. Characters like that.
Yeah, I remember you showed me a link to it, and there was a lot of characters.
Yeah. Because the funny thing is, the miniatures you get are the same scale as the Star Wars miniatures, which I forget the game that those go to. I guess it's just Star Wars minis or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very expensive game to get. But I guess you could probably like build it yourself if you just get the similar like the similar minis from like the Star Wars line individually or whatever, and then print off the decks, and then the like the little battle arenas. Yeah, it's a fun game. You can play with up to 6 people. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. Do you have any more games? Because I got one more quick thing to mention.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. This was another thing I was gonna try to make a video on because I had already made one on it before, but and this isn't really a game, but it's the Kickstarter to the Resident Evil board game. I want to mention this again real quick because I didn't really describe how the Kickstarter actually worked. Each day, one of the designers would write like the short like story segment, and at the end of it, you'd get presented with a choice like on what to do next. So it was kind of like a choose your own adventure type deal, and depending on, you know, everybody who backed the Kickstarter would get to vote on it, and depending on the option you chose, you would unlock either a new character that would be added to the game, or like other like extra like enemies or new enemies and stuff like that. It just seemed kind of like a neat idea to me to like keep interest high, because I think that like brought a lot of people back to like the Kickstarter page every day and stuff. You also had like an advanced character vote, which in the Resident Evil board games, an advanced character is like has a different, it's like a different version of an existing, you know, player character. Pretty much, they have different like abilities, and at certain points in the story, you would trigger an advanced character vote, and like everybody that had been found up to that point would be entered into this vote, and whoever got the least number of votes would get offed. Yeah, like
that's fun.
And the funny thing is, like, you could probably go back and read all these because they're still up on the Kickstarter page, but the 2 helicopter pilots were the first 2 to get offed. Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, but like, you know, the very obvious ones made it through, you know, Jill, Barry, and Chris, and Rebecca. But they also had they had like one bonus vote where you could bring someone back from the dead. It's like pretty much everybody was trying to get the alpha team to survive. But it turns out they ended up making a bonus pack, which included the advanced versions of everybody that died. So you can still get them, but you have to pay money for them. Yeah, I was gonna do a video like covering like what the Kickstarter was, and then like all the different things, and then like if you should buy it or you should back it or not. But I don't know. I kind of got sick like around the time that I was getting ready to make it, and I never did. Like the pledge manager is still open on GameFound, so if you are curious about it, you can check it out there. I think there's a link on the Kickstarter page. If not, just look into it. And I'm not trying to shill it. I'm just trying to be helpful. Really. I would like to get shill money.
Yeah, do it. Pay us, please.
Yeah. Gee, man, can you point me in the right direction? Not trying to throw shade.
Alright. I think that wraps up our best games of 2021, though.
Yeah.
Alright.